This is the NSTT Extruder assembly video. During this video we will go through the several assembly options for the extruder. First let's look at all the parts needed. Let's start with the printed parts. The small gear. The big gear. The stepper mount base. The main body of the extruder and filament idler version A or version B. The E3D lock. The extruder lid. The filament guide. The bearing spacers according to the type of bearing you will be using. First you must choose the printed version for the body and idler of your extruder based on how strong your prints and printing material are. If your prints are strong, choose version A of the body and idler. This version prints a support shaft for the idler, sparing the stepper shaft from additional friction and radial loading. If your prints are not that strong and tend to crack along the layer lines, print version B of the body and idler. This will require a 625 bearing that will be inserted in the stepper shaft and allow the idler to use the stepper shaft as its own shaft also. Next is the type of bearings to use. You can use for the M5 extruder axis either 625 or 688 bearings or a mix of both. I prefer the 688 bearings because the printed spacer will reduce the play of the MK8 hobbed gear due to the M5 screw precision tolerances. I'm actually using 688F bearings. These will press the body and lid together when tighten up thanks to the additional flange. Now let's look at the other parts needed. The stepper. The MK8 extruder's hobbed gear and idler loading spring. Several nuts, washers, and screws. The bearings. The details of the quantities and type of screws can be found in the bill of materials file. Let's start the assembly. First insert all the M3 nuts in the nut trap spaces in the different parts. 3 in the back of the stepper mount plate. 2 in the back of the main body. 1 in the back of the filament idler. Insert the small gear in the stepper shaft. It will self-lock. The small gear must be inserted with the round hole facing the stepper and the D-shaft hole facing the other side. Now screw the stepper mount to the stepper using 3 10 mm long M3 screws. Now to assemble the filament idler. If using body and idler, option B, insert the 625 bearing in the idler. This will allow to use the stepper shaft as the idler shaft as well. Insert an M3 washer, then the 623 bearing. Washer is on the nut side and the bearing is on the side of the screw head, and screw the bearing and washer with an M3 10 mm long screw. Mark the M5 screw with a pen, 10 mm offset from the base of the hexagonal head. Use a tool file to make a flat dent in the M5 screw. The dent must be at least 5 mm wide. Pick up the M5 40 mm long screw and insert in this order. For the 625 bearings, option 1. The big gear. The M5 washer. A 625 bearing. The 625 spacer A. The MK8 hobbed gear. For the 688 bearings, option 2. The big gear. The 688 spacer A. A 688 bearing. The Mk8 hobbed gear. Tight the Mk8 hobbed screw in place. Insert the shaft in the body. Then join the body to the stepper mount plate and also both gears. To do this, insert the body and the big gear assembly at a 45-degree angle and rotate to the final position. Screw the M4 nut on the M4 screw and place the Mk8 tension spring in the M4 screw. Place it as the pictures shows, backside of idler. Fit the idler in the stepper shaft. Place the filament guide in place. Screw the extruder lid in place. Insert the rest of the shaft parts by this order. For the 625 bearings, option 1. 625 spacer B. 625 bearing. For the 688 bearings, option 2. 688 bearing. 688 spacer B. Insert the M5 nut. Tight all with the M5 nut, use your fingers for this. You want it to tight it very mildly so it won't load the bearings too much. Insert the M5 nylon lock nut on top of this. Finally, you can insert your E3D directly to the extruder or a pneumatic coupler by printing the pneumatic coupler adapter, available in 2 halves. Thanks for watching. Finally, you can insert your E3D directly to the extruder or a pneumatic coupler by printing the pneumatic coupler adapter, available in 2 halves. Thanks for watching.